Hi, welcome back to NPA Teaching. As we discussed in the last video that the sampling error arose by observing only the sample instead of whole population. That is, this error is mainly associated with sample size. The relationship between sampling error and the sample size is inverse. As the sampling size increases, the margin of error decreases. This relationship is called inverse because the two moves in the opposite direction. If you think about it, it makes sense that the more information you have, the more accurate your results are going to be. In other words, the smaller your margin of error. Thus, the large sample size is good. But the question arises that how much large is your sample size? Increasing sample size beyond a particular point gives you diminished return because the increased accuracy will be negligible. Similarly, when each time you survey one more person, the cost of your survey is also increases. The extra cost and the trouble to get that, the small decrease in the margin of error may not be worthwhile. See here, the large sample size are good or not. Large sample size are always good. In order to see the difference, it can get closer to the population characteristics of interest. See here, at a smaller sample size, the standard deviation of given sampling distribution is very high and deviated much higher from the actual mean. As we increases the sample size, the standard deviation of given sampling distribution is decreases and approaches closer to the actual mean. In this sense, we can say that the large sample size is good because it approaches to the actual mean. A typical margin of error for the sample percentage for the different sample size is given in the table. Look at these different results. You can see that the larger sample sizes decreases the margin of error, but after a certain point, you have a diminished return. See here, when your sample size was 200, the margin of error was 7.1%. Now see, to cut the margin of error in half, like for example, from 3.2% down to 1.6%, you need to 4 times as big of a sample, like going from 1000 to 4000 respondent. So to cut the margin of error by a factor of 5, you need to 25 times as big of a sample, like having a margin of error go from 7.1% to 1.4% when the sample size is moving from 200 up to 5000. So increasing sample size beyond a particular point gives you a diminished return because the increased accuracy will be negligible. So there is no need to take a much higher sample size to reduce the sampling error. You should also consider the proportion of decreasing in the margin of error. In the figure, you again find that as the sample size increases, the margin of error decreases. However, you should also notice that there is a diminishing return from taking larger and larger samples. The amount by which the margin of error decreases is most substantial between the sample size of 200 and 1500. So this implies that the reliability of the estimate is more strongly affected by the size of sample in that range. In contrast, the margin of error does not substantially decreases at sample size above 1500 since it is already below 3%. So at the same time, the cost of collecting additional sample is maybe higher than the cost of reducing the margin of error, which is not worthwhile. It is rarely worth for researcher to spend additional time and money to bring the margin of error down below 3% by increasing the sample size. So after that point, it is probably better to spend additional resources on reducing the sources of bias that might be on the same order as the margin of error. I hope you are clear about the relationship between the sample size, sampling error and the margin of error. Have a nice day and see you in the next video. Thank you.